Today, I'm going to talk about rapid intervention for the aggressive firefighter. We often think about rapid intervention as people yard breathing out in the front or back of a structure that is going bad or going poorly, or any assignment that we have a structure fire. Rapid intervention teams or rapid intervention crews are necessary. They're part of our DNA of being a firefighter. It's the kind of the rules and regulations that allow us to have a 2 in, 2 out, plus an additional team of people that are ready to go. Some people interpret that in many, many different ways, and I'm not here to change anybody's way of doing things. I'm simply saying that as a crew, as an opportunity to serve for the safety of all fire service, if you have a rapid intervention assignment, that as an aggressive firefighter, as somebody that is actively pursuing the safety of his brethren, that you should take the job seriously. John Paul Jones wrote, "I intend to go in harm's way." I intend to go in harm's way. He was a Navy captain. He said that I intend to go into harm's way, and it was in a letter where he was ordering ships to go into battle. He wanted the best, fastest ship to go into battle because he was going to go into harm's way. As firefighters, we do the same. When we go to work and we hang our gear on the rig, when we get logged on, when we show up to do work, we intend to go in harm's way. The question that we should have of our crews that are going behind us or that are assigned to rapid intervention, if harm befalls me, will you come and get me? And if I know that that is a true statement, then I can do the maximum that I can do on the fire ground in order to save life and to save property. The last line of defense. Rapid intervention is the last line of defense. If a line of duty death is going to happen in a traumatic event on the fire ground, it's most likely going to happen the majority of time before a rapid intervention team or crew is even on scene. Predominantly, Maydays occur within the first 8 minutes of entering into a structure. RIT teams are not even formed usually at that time, but if they are formed, they're coming off of the rig or they're barely situated with their tools and equipment. As aggressive firefighters, as firefighters in general, if we are assigned rapid intervention, we should have a passion to realize that the things that we do leading up to the event of rapid intervention, a team assignment, are going to make or break our assignment. Rapid intervention happens outside of the IDLH. If a Mayday comes in, you will immediately become your own engine company or you will become a rescue company. Rapid intervention is everything that leads up to the time when you have to hit go because there's a Mayday. The fundamentals of aggressive firefighting. I've come up with 5 fundamentals of aggressive firefighting. Actually, firefighter Gary Martin, a 33-year veteran of the fire service, as he likes to say, put me through a 6-week course when I worked with when I was a new lieutenant, and I worked with him out at Station 74. And over 6 weeks, he came up with these 5 fundamentals. There was a lot more profanity and a lot less grammatical consistency, and so we've kind of shrunk them down to 5 fundamentals. Number 1 of an aggressive firefighter is to put water on the fire. 2 is to take tools and use them. 3 is to do the unglamorous work. 4 is to operate from the combat position. And 5 is to finish the task. I'm going to take these 5 fundamentals and I'm going to apply it to how I do rapid intervention. When we do rapid intervention, the first thing is, using the 5 fundamentals, is that we bring water to the fight. If we were going to go all-out effort and become the best rapid intervention crew we have, we would have an independent source of water completely isolated from the initial company. Why is that important? Because if we go 1403 study of how to protect firefighters in fire training, you have to have 2 complete separate sources. But if you ask that on the fire ground, it's something that is frowned upon in this organization. You want me to put another rig onto pumping? And so I say, at least, if you can't get a completely independent line, get a line that you have access to, or bare minimum, get the water can. Have an independent source of water that you have access to. Bring water with you. bring water to the fight. A rapid intervention crew, team, fast, whatever you want to call it, needs water. I like the idea of some jurisdictions having a rapid intervention engine. I know the truck is coming, but having a rapid intervention engine gives us the opportunity to have that independent water source. The fundamentals, number 2, take tools and use them. It is vitally important to take tools and use them. I say that of all the things that we can put into a Stokes basket, of all the things that we can drag forward and put out in the front yard or put back onto the Charlie side, of all the things that we have to have, let's focus on some primary things that not only do you take them, but you know how to use them at the mastery level. There's a great opportunity. If you wanted to learn something about training in the fire service, learn the difference between fluency and mastery. Fluency you can attain in 20 hours, mastery takes 10,000. There's got to be a pathway in between where we gain fluency in the fire academy and we gain mastery in our first 10 years in the fire service. Bring irons, bring air, and a search rope, and then tools for the potential harm that is about to befall or could potentially befall the firefighters that you need to protect. The fundamentals: do the unglamorous work. Do the unglamorous work. As a rapid intervention crew, as a rapid intervention team, ID Plan B. If you arrive on scene and you are dedicated to saving those that you are given the assignment to protect, you should instantly be looking for IDing Plan B. If things are going to go wrong, most likely they're not going to go wrong in the most convenient, well-organized, clean training ground with no hazards. Identify Plan B. Where are you getting into the structure? How are you getting into the structure? How are you going to get the people out? And what is the result of your actions? Aggressive actions have aggressive reactions. And when you take those aggressive actions, those things are going to have aggressive reactions, and it might be so aggressive that a firefighter does not die on your watch. Crack the structure. I like saying things in ways that kind of bring a little bit machismo, a little bit of something to the event. We hear of softening the structure. I want to crack the structure. I want it to be a walnut shell, and you know, when on Christmas, when you get the walnuts and you get that nutcracker out and you crack it and it begins to fracture and gets ready for you to peel it apart. That's what I'm talking about. Get on that structure and crack it. Remove those bars, open up the doors, do those things that are going to allow you to get to the nut that's inside the shell. The building is the shell. It is our enemy. It needs to be cracked. It's already on fire. We're putting people in harm's way. Are you willing to go get them if harm befalls them? And last is secure the variables. Dennis Laguerre gave a great talk, and one of the phrases that he used about the gated why is, don't put a variable where there should be a constant. And I say that variables are those things where we second guess where firefighters are going to bail out of window. If you put a ladder, if firefighters are working on the second floor, third floor, upper floors, and you put an egress ladder at every window that they could possibly be coming out, then you don't have a variable of whether or not which window they can safely come out. They can come out a window because as a rapid intervention team, you have cracked the structure so that they can get out the window. And more importantly, you have secured variables. Utilities are a variable. Exits and egresses are variables. Locked and bolted doors are variables. Barred windows are variables. Are you sure that somebody did not go down in the basement and get in trouble? So you're not going to take those basement bars off because the fire's not even there, but they could fall in there. It's a variable that has to be controlled. Secure your variables. The fundamentals: operate from the combat position. When we operate from the combat position, the thing that I would like to say on the rapid intervention side, I have a whole different talk on the aggressive firefighting side, but the thing that I would like to say is that rapid intervention as a rule of our profession In a monastic and a monastery society, they have a rule, the thing that governs how they act, how they approach an event. I'm on the engine one month and I'm on the truck the next month. We're at the central station. We rarely get rapid intervention. But in those rare times that I have been in rapid intervention, I have been both the moron, who has been the yard breather, standing out with little equipment and little care about where anybody was at. I did not ask the questions of where are they, who are they, where are they, what are they doing, how am I going to get to, any of the questions that we need to answer to get them out safely. And I tell you this, that as a rapid intervention person, a person that could be involved in rapid intervention, change your mindset, change your rule. Rapid intervention should be just an aggressive function as anything else. It is the one function, it's the one opportunity that you have from the initial assignment to be assigned as a group because they know you're going to freelance. They know you're going to move to affect the opportunity to save one of our own that has fallen. Stay vigilant. Just as we have a rule of life like a monastic society, we do the same things in minutia as well as we do the glorious things. We do the same patterns over and over again because it's important for us to have those rules. We must stay vigilant. We must know where the firefighters are, how we are going to get to them. We have to activate our senses and understand that if we are talking about what is going on in our personal life while we are supposed to be vigilant and ready to respond to a Mayday call, we are doing the opposite. We are not being vigilant. Start today in preparation of Mayday. Start today for preparation of Mayday. If you've ever been in a rapid intervention or a firefighter rescue course or a self-survival, firefighter survival course, you will understand you must be physically fit. You must give all-out effort. You must understand what the level of strength and fitness and power that you can put on a given moment. And also, you need to work on observation and identification of known hazards. Various times in our career, we walk past things that are glaring to us now. We walk past doors that are bolted shut. We've walked past windows that have been barred. We've walked past opportunities to crack a structure or soften a structure or move things, simple things like unlocking a gate or moving a ladder from an unusable position to possibly an emergency egress position. Start today to prepare your mind and your body and your training to be ready for the Mayday. Finish the task. Finishing the task of being on a rapid intervention team. And this is where I'm going to get into operations. How do we put this into effect? The number one thing of the task of a rapid intervention is to place a navigation rope between entry point and the downed firefighter. 2 is to stabilize the firefighter's air supply, and 3 is to package the firefighter to move. As a rapid intervention crew, as soon as you hear Mayday, 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 by the time the person gets the third Mayday out, you should have been so vigilant that you have already turned and moved toward the entry point that you are going to get to that firefighter. If you don't have that opportunity, you need to gather information so that you know where you are going to go. You need to have already thought, my primary task is to place a navigation rope between entry point and the downed firefighter. Over and over again, we have seen rescue efforts fail because the initial contact is not followed up by having a navigation line to secure the firefighter and move him from point A to a safe location outside. Rapid intervention operations. In order to operate effectively as a rapid intervention team, crew, or whatever you call it, we need to have team roles. The team roles that we need to have are, depending if you're 3 or 4, if you're 3, you need to have a search person. That search person needs to be trained in the way to search a building quickly and search it appropriately for going after a firefighter, not necessarily a civilian. 2 is you have to have a RIT officer, and that RIT officer has to be competent in being oriented, being able to communicate, and being able to effectively move the team forward. And lastly, you have to have your air navigation person, that person that is assigned to bring the air and deploy the rope. And that person comes in last. And as they follow in, we're going to move search 1 and 2, so the 2 search people, or if you just have a room for 1, the search person goes in first. They are using every clue possible to access the firefighter in a quick, aggressive, rapid manner. If the pass device is going off, they go to the pass device. If they know the location of where the firefighter was or where the Mayday came in, the lunar report, they go directly to that point. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly to Park Avenue. You win the game. And so get search moving forward. The RIT officer comes in behind the search person. As they come in, they're using an oriented search attack where they understand search is happening in front of them. They're not necessarily involved in search. They're involved in staying oriented and communicating directly with the command structure so that they know what is happening, and continuing moving the team forward. And lastly, your air navigation person is behind you. That person is also aggressively moving, but not moving and following every whim that the search person has, because their job is to establish a navigation line from the exterior of the building, hard connected to the exterior egress of the building, and in the most straight line possible, get it to that downed firefighter. Once we get to the downed firefighter, the search immediately moves into uprighting the downed firefighter. The navigation person hands the rope to the officer. He is now the air guy. He establishes air supply, which takes a huge amount of effort. Your first hope is that you crack the bypass and you establish that there's air in the mask and that the mask is sealed. Because if you have not trained on changing out a mask in a high stress environment, you are most likely going to put the mask on the guy's forehead, over the top of his head, and completely miss the opportunity to save a life. You must train on getting this job done. Search and the officer and air gets that firefighter air supply established. They prep him for movement in various different ways. I'm just going to tell you one easy way. That's to maximize the waist strap on the SCBA, connected in between the legs. It allows you to drag with the SCBA. The search person does one quick search to see if there's a faster way out than the navigation line. If there's a window, door, something close by where they can get out, then they take the short route. Otherwise, they turn around and begin to drag the firefighter back out of the building and following their navigation line. The navigation line is now secured from the outside and is secured to the location where the firefighter was found. It's tied off. It's not going to move. The firefighters that are moving this person, the officer, can stay oriented because they can pull on that rope, because that rope is not going to become untied. It's not going to become disconnected. And then they exit the building quickly and efficiently with a lot of work, with the RIT officer staying, he's not a RIT officer, with the officer that is in the rescue mode who is staying oriented and moving the patient out. I would encourage you that if at any time you think that you might be assigned as rapid intervention, that you take the time now to prepare for aggressive tactics on the fire ground, to be prepared if our brothers fall into harm's way. And when that happens, are you ready before the third Mayday falls to instantly change your mind, flip the switch, and go all-out effort to rescue one of our own? And I say the only way you can do that is to take advice of the many speakers that we heard today, and that is to train. They've used different words, but I call it proof performance. Let's get on the drill ground and let's prove that we can do it, but most often we prove that we can't do it, that we need more training. And then finally, if not this plan, come up with a plan that works for your department to Be able to search, go directly to the firefighter, be able to stay oriented so that you're not a bigger problem, and to realize what your function is. If you can secure a nav line, if you can get air stabilized to that firefighter, and if you have water coming to put water on the fire, you can do a successful rescue operation from RIT. There's been studies shown that it doesn't take 3, it doesn't take 4, it takes 12 or more firefighters to successfully save one of our own. And what's scary is they say that of those 12, one of them will have their own Mayday event. We must train. Be aggressive. Understand what it means to be aggressive. You don't need to say anything else. I'm an aggressive firefighter. I train to be aggressive. I beg my crews to be aggressive. And we work on being aggressive. You can put every other adjective in there that you want to. But I say don't lose the passion for the fight. Don't lose the opportunity to pursue excellence in everything that you do. And if you don't get it right, do it again. I can tell you after hours and hours and hours of training, there is very few tasks on the drill ground harder than replacing the face mask of a downed firefighter in full PPE ensemble with no visibility. It is extremely difficult, extremely taxing in a high-stress environment. I encourage you, if you're watching this, those that are in the audience, go home and practice it. It may save a brother's life, but it may, more importantly, not haunt you for the rest of yours if your training were ever to fail you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Fire Talk is going across the nation. We're going to harvest as many talks as possible, and it's not to bring light and favor to me. It is that every kitchen table 5 years from now can have access to 20-minute training videos free of charge on every subject in the fire service. And that may just save one of our own. Thank you.